All right, so I made this video yesterday, I believe, or 2 nights ago actually. I just posted it yesterday, but it's about Little Orphan Annie. Basically, was a video from the movie Tomorrowland, and then I thought of the Tomorrow song and Little Orphan Annie, and there was a bunch of 67s and whatnot. Anyway, um, I love comments. It's awesome. Makes me learn so much. But I had some other comments about, basically about when it came out on Broadway, it was the day after Hitler's 88th birthday, but there was also a movie called Annie Hall, and it came out on the day of Hitler's 88th birthday in April 20th, 1977. And there's other good information, but it just made me think to just go and look up even more to do with Annie in general. Maybe there's more to do with Annie. We had the new movie, Little Orphan Annie or whatever, that just came out in December. So I thought, all right, maybe they're doing some more Annie things. And for whatever the reason, I remember watching poker a lot a few years back when it seemed really popular or whatever, and always watched poker on ESPN. And I remembered Annie Duke, and then I talked about how I think Duke, there's something to do with Duke. It's been a decent code word as of recent, but just interesting. It's Annie Duke. And I didn't really look that much into her, but look, she's 49 years old. Then, I didn't really find a whole lot with this, but I thought of Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal, Annie, Are You Okay? Are You Okay, Annie? Whatever. But that's interesting. I guess the single came out in 1988, so that's kind of interesting. But also it says that it's the theme song to Michael Jackson's 1988 film, Moonwalker. I guess first thing I noticed was that it made $67 million. So the budget was $22 million, and the box office it made $67 million. It was 93 minutes, and if you go back in the comments, Ron Walker was talking about 93 a whole bunch and whatnot in my last probably 2 or 3 videos. But anyway, and then it came out on October 29th, 1988. And October 29th and 88 was a leap year, so that would be 303. So there's a 33, and there's also 63 days remaining. But if you read right here, the release, it says that it was released in Europe and South America, but Warner Brothers canceled plans for a Christmas 88 theatrical release in the United States. Instead, it was released on home video in the United States and Canada on January 10th, 1989. So it wasn't released actually in the United States until January 10th, 1989. And January 10th is actually one of 6 days in Pythagorean gematria that equals 49. Hopefully I did all the math right. I did this the other day at work, but I believe there's only 6 days that actually add up to 49. And I guess the last thing, and this has nothing to do with Annie, and I'm sorry, but just that it was the theme song to this movie. Anyway, the movie was 2 segments, Man in the Mirror, and the second one was retrospective and whatever. So the end of the movie, it says these are the songs in the order of the movie. The very last song of the movie is Dirty Diana. And I just find that interesting because the Roman goddess Diana was the goddess of the moon. So we got the goddess of the moon, and then you have Michael Jackson, famous for moonwalking, even though you got like Bob Fosse and all them other old guys that he stole it from, but just like a lot of his music. But anyway, so the movie's called Moonwalker, and then the last song on the movie, Dirty Diana. Go figure. And both of these songs, they came out on the Michael Jackson Bad album, which was released on August 31st, 1987. So I guess when I think of Dirty Diana, I think of Princess Diana. And look when she died, August 31st, 1997. August 31st, 1997. Michael Jackson's Bad album came out August 31st, 1987. So exactly 10 years after this album. Just found that kind of weird. Also, another thing I noticed about Princess Diana. She was born in 1961, and then July 1st to August 31st is 61 days. So she died 61 days after her birthday, and she was born in 61, and she was 36. And also, 1961 is 54 years ago, or July 1st, it will be 54 years ago. 54 is love. And like I said, I don't know. I haven't really figured it all out. But I was thinking of just because the whole thing is about Anna, whatever. So you think die, like Diana, like killing Anna, or die is actually two. So it'd be two Annas. I don't know where I'm going with it. I'm just kind of building research off of it a little bit. So who knows? Maybe I'll find it in the future. Then I thought of the band Silverchair. Used to be one of my favorite bands. Anyway, they have a song called Anna Song, and he says, "Please die, Anna," whatever, in the very beginning. But it came out after she died. Princess Diana died. But the lead singer is supposedly singing about his anorexia and how he wants his anorexia to go away or whatever. So who knows? I mean, like I said, I just thought of that from Anna, whatever. But the lead singer is Daniel Johns. I mean, look at his birthday. April 22nd, 1979. So 79 is the 22nd prime. April 22nd, 112th day, which is 11/2/22. And I guess he's the same age as Princess Diana when she died right now. So, I don't know. Just kind of interesting, I guess. So then I just typed in Annie on Wikipedia to see what it would come up with. A bunch of the Annies and whatnot. And one of them rung a bell, Annie Oakley from like Annie Get Your Gun. I think it's a musical. But she died on November 3rd, 11/3/33, 1926. So that will be 89 years ago, but as to date right now, it is 88 years ago. She also died age 66, like all these famous people who die on them double numbered days. It's just crazy. And she was in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, Buffalo Bill, BB 88. And Buffalo Bill died in 1917, a Jubilee year, so it's 49 years before 1966 and 98 years ago. But look, also the January 10th date again, so who knows? Anyway, there's a few other little things as I'm scrolling here, but one of the big ones that I want to talk about, and I'll feel like I'm running out of time if I don't. So it says accelerator neutrino whatever. It's called Annie. So I clicked on this. So anyway, you come here and read about it, but it has the God particle here, and it says simulated large hadron, however you say it, collider detector, blah 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 here, and then it shows experiments. Annie is one of the experiments they're doing with this hadron collider, and it will be happening in the summer of 2015. It will begin installation in the summer of 2015. So you think of CERN and everything else, but this is actually in the United States. I just wanted to point out this before I move on. Like, look at this experiment names then. Gran, Sasso, Eno. Like, none of them are names except for this one, Annie. So, that's just, who knows what's going on. That's just kind of weird that they have a name, and then all these other ones are just like, like they don't make a name. Anyway, down here it shows the installation 2015. The run will be fall of 2015 to the spring of 2016. And then they're going to do, that was phase 1, they do phase 2, phase 3. And then here's a link to the actual homepage. And it's at Fermilab. Fermilab is in Batavia, Illinois. It's near Chicago. And I'll get back to that in a second. But its thing called Tevatron was a landmark particle accelerator at 3.9 miles in circumference. And it was the second largest energy particle accelerator after the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. That's 27 kilometers. They make sure you see 27. Funny. But I guess this shut down in 2011. But the Annie experiment is going to be taking place at this same place. So I just found it interesting. It's 3.9 miles in circumference. That means around, I guess. Um, Obviously, but anyway, Fermilab, if you add it up, it comes to 66 and 39, so 3.9 and 39. And then Tevatron is 115, so 11.5, 52, and also 34. And 34, if you scroll on here, you find out the first director at the lab was this guy, who was born on 3-4, just, I don't know. So, anyway, get it? Anyway, let's check out Batavia, Illinois, where that place is from. First, wanted to point out the coordinates: 41 degrees north, 88 degrees west. And look at the elevation: 666 feet. I mean, come on. They couldn't have built this place on a better spot, could they have? It even says, after the death of her husband, Mary Todd Lincoln was involuntary resident of the Batavia Institute on May 20th, 1875, and then she was released 4 months later on September 11th. I mean, so her husband died. It was later on, but September 11th she was released from there, and May 20th to September 11th is 114 days. So the 11-4. Tons of stuff. Talked about that a billion times now. Anyway, let's check out Mary Todd Lincoln. So she, let's see here. Well, born in 1818. Kind of weird, just the double number. But also was 63 when she died. 63 in a 36 mirror. Also, it says here, she married Abraham Lincoln on 11-4 of 1842. So 11-4 again. Anyway, I guess I could look more into that. That's a whole nother video probably. I bet you could find a ton of 44s and whatnot around Abe Lincoln, I'm assuming. Wanted to go back to Fermilab here. It says it was established November 21st, 1967, that I talked about with Bill Murray and the Annie and all that. There were 67s. But it says, Weston, Illinois was a community next to Batavia, voted out of existence by its village in 1966 to provide a site for Fermilab. So, I mean, it actually was in existence 49 years ago. Even though it says it was established 1967, they must have been doing construction or started to do it in 1966, 49 years ago. It was named after this guy who died in 1954. Another thing I found interesting about this town was that it says that it is part of a vernacular region known as the Tri-City area, along with St. Charles and Geneva. Now that stood out a lot for the fact that CERN is also in Geneva. So why would the two biggest things be in a place by Geneva? And by things, I obviously mean the Hadron or Hedron particle accelerator, collider. Interesting, the word Geneva actually adds up to 54, love, the mirror, evil, and 27. And I've talked about how 2015 is a 27 year, being the 27 years from 1988. And look at CERN here. CERN, established in 1954. The organization is based in a northwest suburb of Geneva on the Franco-Swiss border. Also says CERN was established, or it was ratified on September 29th, 1954. September 29th is the same day that the guy from that the Fermilab is named after was born. So then I just thought of things about Geneva, and the first one that came to my head was the Geneva Conventions. And basically it's just like the rules of war and whatnot, but it says the singular term Geneva Convention usually denotes the agreements of 1949, negotiated in the aftermath of the Second World War. So, I mean, this is associated with 1949. And, of course, the Geneva Bible. That came out 51 years before the King James Bible. And I'm not sure if it was the second Bible in English, but it talks about how most people preferred the Geneva Bible, and the Great Bible was the first Bible that was put in English.